Starting this video leaving Texas City, heading north toward downtown Houston. By the way, this is my third consecutive video in Texas, and there's still no sun. First, I'm gonna grab a bite to eat, get a big drink, and get a tank full of gas from his Buc-ee's. This location is one of the giant travel centers that Buc-ee's is synonymous with. Current price per gallon of regular is $2.99 a gallon. By the way, this is my 21st Buc-ee's location. This location is difficult to get to because they're rebuilding the interchange from Interstate 45, so we had to go to the next exit and then make a U-turn to get here. And it's still busy here, so people are still finding their way here just so they can get to this Buc-ee's. Texans sure do love their Buc-ee's. This location looks similar to my closest location in Calhoun, Georgia. It's about 50,000 square feet with over 100 dealer positions outside. The sweet Buc-ee's t-shirt with the place name on it has a bright neon green color. Looks like the color of key lime pie. I'm gonna buy this and add to my collection. All the familiar items are sold in the store, like grab-and-go sandwiches, pudding, fruit cups, beaver nuggets, beef jerky, soda, and those icy frozen drinks. What I didn't have here is that one nozzle for Diet Coke, so I'll have to get Dr. Pepper Zero instead. One more look at this very bright t-shirt. This is the last Buc-ee's I'll visit on this Texas road trip. Now it's time to head to Houston. Hey guys, it's Emily. Welcome everyone! This is the final video from my 3-part Texas road trip series. On this video, I'll head through Houston, then drive along the eastern border of Texas. And then when I finally leave Texas, I'll drive through a unique border crossing. Gonna be another Lone Star day. Let's go! I'm heading north on Interstate 45. I'm going to downtown Houston to see some more roadside attractions. Houston is the 4th largest city in the United States and has a metro area population of just over 7 million. There are some roadside attractions in the downtown area. Traffic is pretty light right now, thankfully. I have had very good luck with traffic on this Texas road trip. Let's check out a Google map to see the route I'll be taking on this video. I'm on my way to downtown Houston. After seeing a few things there, I'll head eastbound on Interstate 10 to Beaumont to see the final resting place of a famous musician. Then it's on to Buna to see that small town. Then proceed north along the Texas border to Jasper. Then to Hemphill, where another tragic event in American history occurred. Finally, I reached the small town of Joaquin, where I leave Texas at an interesting border crossing. I wanted to get a nice picture of the Houston skyline, so I found this parking lot, which is surprisingly empty, and it is behind one of those places where there's a bunch of restaurants next to a small park. Both of these buildings are over 50 stories tall, and the tallest building is the J.P. Morgan Chase Tower, standing at 75 stories tall. For the third video in a row, I'll be featuring very large sculptures of historical figures created by artist David Adikes. But these sculptures are locked up in this yard. This yard is full of sculptures of giant U.S. presidents' heads. These large president head statues have been in 2 different theme parks, but they've been here in this backyard since around 2008. I think David Adikes is trying to raise money to buy a small park and find these big heads a permanent home. It's a shame these large sculptures are in this locked yard. They look kinda sad, looking through the fence. I would have loved to have gone in there and gotten some better pictures from the inside the yard. I hope David Adikes can find some parkland and put these on display. Some rumors have said he's looking for a park near Huntsville where the giant Sam Houston statue is located. Also, these large President's Head statues are being overseen by Charlie Chaplin? Does that seem strange to you? There's another statue who looks like a guy with a bad haircut and a mustache. He's also overseeing the president heads. Does anyone know why Charlie Chaplin is in here with the presidents? If so, please leave me a comment. I think there are about 40 president heads here. I did see George W. Bush and many presidents from earlier administrations. And since these heads were here in 2008, I wouldn't expect to see Barack Obama, Donald Trump, or Joe Biden in here. George Bush the Elder and LBJ are easily in view, probably because of their Texas roots. There's President George Bush the Elder right there. I will say Adikis does a fantastic job with all these sculptures. And there's his son, President George W. Bush. He was governor of Texas from 1994 until he was elected president in the year 2000. This is a pretty awesome place. If you want to see this, I would locate it using Google Maps with a satellite view on to make sure you get to the right place. Now heading eastbound out of the Houston area, my next stop would be Beaumont, which is not far from the Louisiana border. Again, the traffic is very light, so I'm continuing my good luck there. It seems like every video I make now, I'm going into a cemetery, and this video is no exception. I'm in Beaumont at Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Memorial Park. A famous singer who died way too soon is buried here. Usually it takes me a few minutes to figure out where the gravesite is located. Seems like the directions found online are too vague, but I did find what I'm looking for. After walking around for a few minutes, I reached the gravesite, and next to it is this Texas historical marker, noting this is the final resting place of J.P. Richardson, Jr., better known as the Big Bopper. He, along with fellow musicians Buddy Holly and Richie Valens, were killed on February 3, 1959, when their plane crashed in Clear Lake, Iowa. This tragic event is known as the day the music died. The Big Bopper had many famous songs, but his biggest hit was Chantilly Lace, reaching number 6 on the pop charts. He was also known for writing the George Jones song White Lightning. And here's his grave marker, the one in the middle. The Big Bopper was just 28 years old when he died, but here's a strange story. In 2007, rumors were circulating that a gun was fired on the plane, killing the pilot and seriously injuring Richardson. The rumors stated Richardson died after the crash when he went for help because Richardson's body was found 40 feet away from the plane. So Richardson's son had his father exhumed and an autopsy performed, and there was no evidence that he was shot, and it was proven the Big Bopper died when he was thrown from the plane when it crashed. Now heading northbound pretty close to the Texas-Louisiana state border. By the way, the sun has finally made an appearance. Now I'm in the city of Buna, which has a population of a little over 2,100 people. Buna is the home of the Cougars, and their school system sports team colors are white and blue. Next to their volunteer fire department is a very interesting house, which uses the same colors and the occasional paw print. Check out the Polka Dotted House. This house has been painted in polka dots since the late 1940s. By the way, it looks like this house is for sale, so if you wanted to buy a polka dot house, now's your chance. This house was built by Virgil Newton Davis. It was originally painted with royal blue polka dots with a white background, the same colors as the school athletics team. However, back then it had a white trim around the windows, but today the trim is blue. After Davis sold this house, this building has been used as a florist store, a gift shop, the town chamber of commerce, and was also a courthouse. Today, it looks unoccupied and it's up for sale. Legend has it that the reason this house is decorated in polka dots is Virgil Davis wanted to paint the house blue, but his wife wanted to paint it white, so as a joke, Virgil Davis painted it white with blue polka dots. The house has had polka dots ever since. Also, according to legend, when Virgil Davis sold the house, the new owners tried to paint over the house in a solid white color, but the blue polka dots kept bleeding through the white paint, so they gave up and kept the polka dots. Also, take a look at the front of the house. Some of the polka dots are actually poplins, probably as an homage to the Cougars, the mascot of the school sports team. This house has been a Buna landmark for almost 80 years, so hopefully they'll find a buyer for this house soon. This house is on the main thoroughfare leading from US 96. You can't miss it. It's the only polka dotted house on this road. Alright, let's head a little bit north to my next stop. Now in the city of Hemphill, home of the Hornets, the population of this town is a little over 1,000 people, and I'm taking a look at the downtown area. Hemphill is the county seat for Sabine County, and check out this brick building in front of me. Today is the Sabine County Museum and Library. Well, this was once the county jail. The jail was built with Victorian architecture in 1903. The bricks came from a local kiln. This building was declared a Texas Historic Landmark in 1980. Another look at the downtown square, and this is the county courthouse, a fairly modest 3-story brick building with white columns. There's a marker in front of the building, and it mentions the city of Hemphill was founded in 1858, named for a Texas Supreme Court justice. The current courthouse was constructed in 1906. Hemphill was a growing community from 1850 to 1930 due to lumber production. I'm guessing Hemphill is a pretty good place to do some fishing, if this giant lure is any indication. Not only that, there's a sculpture of a very large fish with his mouth open. Swinging around to get another perspective of the downtown square, the courthouse, and it looks like there are 2 fishing sculptures on the property. This one's interesting. It's a fish that has paintings of other fish on it. There has to be some good fishing here. But Hemphill has a much more somber significance, as you might be able to infer from outside this museum. It says NASA Remembering Columbia. This refers to the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster, where the spacecraft disintegrated over this area on February 1st, 2003. Albert Smith donated funds to construct this museum to remember that tragedy. The theater was named for longtime Hemphill resident William Thomas Arnold, who is the town physician. Not far from that library is this impressive tiled marker, noting how the residents of the city help with recovery efforts. It says on the bottom, their mission became our mission, and that was most definitely a tough day for the city. The marker lists the crew of the Space Shuttle Columbia: Rick Husband, William McCool, David Brown, Kalpana Chawla, Michael Anderson, Laurel Clark, and Ilan Ramon. It also notes they sacrificed their lives in their final mission to benefit mankind, and also the compassion this county's citizens quietly offered the world. At exactly 9 o'clock and 18 seconds a.m., on February 1st, 2003, the space shuttle disintegrated from Nacogdoches, Texas, to just inside southern Louisiana. 40% of the debris field and all the astronauts' remains were found not far from Hemphill. It was determined a large piece of foam struck the left wing of the shuttle upon liftoff. At the time, NASA determined there were no safety concerns, but when the Columbia entered the atmosphere, the left wing failed, and 2 minutes later, the shuttle was lost. The southern marker is to memorialize Charles Krennic and Jules Buzz Meir Jr. These 2 men were in a helicopter as part of the Columbia recovery efforts. This helicopter lost power, killing those men and seriously injuring 3 others. This monument was dedicated in 2009. This is tilted enough to prevent people from walking on it, and it can be seen from space. Search for Hemphill, Texas on Google Maps, look for the Dairy Queen, and zoom in. This is the second shuttle to suffer a disaster. The Space Shuttle Challenger exploded on a very cold day in January 1986. My father had witnessed that explosion, so seeing the Columbia Memorial was pretty emotional, yet important for him to see. Before I head to our final roadside attraction and then leave the state of Texas, I wanted to grab some dinner at the Whataburger in the small city of Joaquin. I've not visited a Texas Whataburger at all on this road trip, so I guess this is my last chance. I really like the Whataburgers in Texas. It seems like the ones in Florida are just okay, and the ones in Georgia are not good. Anyway, we had a good meal, but when we got back to our rental car, we discovered a small bubble on the passenger rear tire. You may remember a couple videos ago, we switched out the rental cars because the first one had a bad tire and was very unsafe to drive in the rain. We didn't notice the bubble until then, and we needed to drive this car all the way to the Atlanta airport, 650 miles away. I'll talk more about that in a bit. This road is a Louisiana state road looking east. I'm actually on the Texas-Louisiana border, and right on the border is a Texas historical marker, as indicated by that brown sign. Panning over, and you see my white rental car with only 3 good tires. But I'm walking to that marker over there. What I'm here to see is this concrete post. They've erected a brick post next to it, but look at the concrete post. It says RT on one side, on the other side it says Merit Boundary, established AD 1840. The concrete post represented the international border between the United States and the Republic of Texas. This marker says this is a historic civil engineering landmark, and that post was set on April 25th, 1841, so now I see why the number 1 is stamped over the 0. This other marker says the survey crew marked off the border in May 1840 and completed setting all of these concrete posts in June 1841. That concrete post is the only known original international boundary marker that exists within the contiguous United States. The Republic of Texas only existed from 1836 to 1845. That concrete post is 9 inches wide on 2 sides and is 4 feet tall above the ground, but there are 6 more feet buried in the ground. So the post is actually 10 feet tall. So you see the RT, which stands for Republic of Texas. Now the opposite side, I didn't film, it says US for United States. I'm looking toward Louisiana through the forest and swinging around to this international marker. So how did they handle border crossings back in the late 1830s and early 1840s? I guess back in the day you just walked through the border and no one really questioned it. They have all this fencing around the concrete marker, I guess to protect it a little bit. The Sons and Daughters of the Republic of Texas has sponsored this location, and the Texas Historical Foundation purchased the property so the public can access it. Just about to leave to start my journey home, and I noticed this other round sign. It says this post is actually made of granite, which might be why it's in such good condition after over 180 years. This is a really interesting site, but it's definitely way off the beaten path. And now I have to make a left on this road and cross into Louisiana and eventually make my way to I-20 and take that all the way to Georgia. And that's it, not only for this video, but for my 3-part Texas road trip series. The interesting thing about the east side of Texas, which I think they call hill country, is it doesn't look all that different from the Piedmont area of Georgia. Lots and lots of trees and gently rolling hills, with the occasional lake. It's very pretty over there. Thankfully, the bubble in the tire didn't increase in size when we drove it all the way to the Atlanta airport. We checked it every couple hours to make sure, and we're thankful that the bad tire didn't burst on us. These rental cars were definitely an adventure this time around, so we'll be reevaluating the car rental company we choose in the future. I have some more exciting adventures coming up, and you'll see that next time. Thanks for watching, bye!